All right, fans. Well, as promised, another returning guest this week, but this one is very important to all you listeners out there. He's going to give us all the ideas and all the fitness smart things we need to know leading forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome back one of my great friends here in Colorado. He's the lead trainer of the Colorado Mammoth. He's the lead trainer of Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling. It's Scotty Long.
What's happening, Ed? How are you, man?
Great, man. How are you, bro? Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. I'm excited to be back on the show. It looks like you've since we last talked, you've compiled a bunch of episodes and you're heading in the right trajectory and the show's doing pretty well. How's it been so far for you?
Man, nose to the grind. I'm having a blast.
Good.
Like I
That's all that
mentioned, living
matters.
out my dream. It doesn't get any better. I mean, obviously we could have a lot more support and all that good things, but hey,
Yeah.
we'll just keep grinding. That's all we're doing here. How
Yeah.
about yourself? How's things on your side since we've talked last?
Yeah, man. Obviously with all the pandemic and the COVID stuff going on, it's obviously a difficult challenge to try and wrap our head around. Um, there's been outbreaks, there's been restrictions, especially here in Denver and Denver County, where Fast Performance is, and kind of where I live and stuff. So, we're trying to do our best to make sense of it all and make sure that everybody's safe and abiding by what restrictions we have to abide by. But for the most part, man, we're still chugging along. Everybody's on the grindstone from here at Fast Performance with our gym memberships and the kids that are working with the baseball trainers and strength and conditioning and with me. And then obviously, we're doing what we have to with Rocky Mountain Pro. And it's been pretty cool because actually, fortunately but unfortunately, RMP had to kind of pivot from going to live shows to doing some tapings here in Fast Performance. So a couple weeks ago, we actually transformed the gym into like a small little arena, and we had the lights set up, the ring
Man, it
set
was like
up.
the old days. It was like
Yeah.
the old NWA days, like TBS style, bro.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was really put together, and we've got another show, streaming show on Twitch this Saturday. So we'll be doing that again in Fast. So, everybody's making do with the hand of cards that they're dealt, and doing the best that we can, buddy.
Sure, definitely. I definitely understand. There's only so much you can do, but I've been definitely checking everything out there on Twitch, following you guys heavily, watching all the shows. I feel like I'm the poison, bro. Every time now that I've ordered tickets to come to a live event, something's happened. And
Yeah.
like I told the champ, I said, man, I just don't think I'm gonna order tickets no more. I'm just gonna have to wait it out and maybe either score some free ones or just maybe wait till the last second to get in there, make sure the event's gonna go on because it's it's been bad luck for me too, man. Going for
Yeah.
but I've enjoyed watching what they've set up there at Fast Performance. I mean, it's a great location. I enjoyed watching, the training days, some days on Twitch as well. It's just cool to watch that stuff. And
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's kind of different for me to kind of have like a camera in front of and not in front of my face, obviously the whole time, but I just got to make sure that that I'm hitting all my cues and keeping my eyes on the guys and stuff like that. And so, it's been really fun to check that stuff out and be involved with you, obviously, and with Rocky Mountain Pro. They've had me on a couple of their Twitch shows and stuff. So it's definitely interesting and definitely fun.
yeah, definitely. They've been mixing it up here a lot lately, bringing in some new stuff and
Yep.
showing us some old stuff as well. It's been cool. But hey, what I've got you on today for, I want my listeners out there to know the best way to do this. And what it is we all know it's holiday season. And with holiday season, Scotty, that brings plenty of gifts,
Mm-hmm.
but also plenty of food. And we all know from Fast Performance, that's that's your main gig. So can you give my listeners out there a run around, or maybe not a run around, let's say a right way to do things for this holiday season?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And the first thing that we'll kind of talk about is some low hanging fruit, and then we'll kind of dive into what what really needs to happen for folks to be successful. And the first thing is we've got to have some sort of physical activity, and that can be, and that's definitely tougher with all the restrictions during COVID and at gyms and stuff like that. But there's plenty of resources online, on YouTube, or you don't really need to have a ton of equipment to get a good workout in at your home or in your basement. It's still free to go outside and go for a run or go for a bike ride. Obviously it's a little bit chilly, so dress warm for that. But the main thing is we still want to promote good physical activity. I know it's super easy to kind of get caught up on your Netflix shows, and I know the new PlayStation and Xbox came out. So if you're fortunate enough to get one of those, you're probably gaming out on that. But making sure that you take a break and take time for yourself. And then you mentioned there's tons of good food, and my wife makes a delicious pecan pie, and we were definitely grubbing on that. Like I'm not going to say here and say that I'm a saint of nutrition, but you've really got to be mindful of what you eat and the amount that you eat. I know Thanksgiving was just around the corner, so hopefully those leftovers are pretty much gone through. But if you start to feel hungry, if you start to feel like you need a little bit of a snack, this is a really great opportunity to pick up some vegetables, some fruit, something with good fiber in it, and nothing, staying away from the processed stuff, and staying away from the sugars and all the treats that grandma and your wife or your husband is making and stuff like that. So once you start to get those little hunger pains, man, you've got to make wise choices. And on top of that too, I know there's tons of delicious drinks out there, adult beverages out there around this time. And I think hydration is really key, especially as it gets colder. Like you don't feel like you need to drink as much water. And so, you still want to hit your recommended daily requirements, which is about 64 to 80 ounces of water on the low end. But a good way to make sure that you're hydrated is checking out the color of your pee, and it's simple. So if you're kind of leaning towards the clear side, the light lemonade, you're good to go. You've got plenty of hydration. And if you start to get to that kind of more darker lemonade, or that almost apple juice, like you've got to drink water.
You got
now.
issues.
Yeah, you're not having a good time. Yeah. And it just comes down to making sure that you've got the correct intake. You're kind of eating the rainbow, and what I mean by that is making sure that you've got foods that fruits and vegetables that are kind of different colors, like your purples that you would see kind of in some of your cabbages, eggplants, obviously your greens, reds, dark greens such as your kale or your spinach and stuff like that. And really making sure that the majority of your intake is good, healthy, non-processed stuff. And I don't want any listeners to say like, oh, well, my wife makes, or my significant other makes different colored candies. That's not what I'm talking about here, man. So,
all right, we'll write that one off too, I guess.
Yeah, I know it's a tough one to deal with. But another thing that a lot of people don't kind of realize, I think there's a big big push or a big spotlight on eating and drinking. But the other thing that we really want to be mindful of is our sleep quality and our sleep quantity. Obviously, people are taking off time. You might be coming back from college or from school, or you've got a couple days off from work where you can just kind of hang out and you don't have too much responsibilities, but making sure you still get at least 8 hours of sleep every night, maintaining a good sleep schedule, just like you would if you were working and stuff like that. And then obviously like good quality sleep. 8 hours of sleep doesn't mean anything if you're waking up every other hour to check your phone, or if you got the TV on, or something else is bugging you. So I would definitely consider taking a look at and being honest with yourself. Is like, am I watching too many Christmas movies late into the night? I know
Hey,
everybody can binge on that stuff.
yeah, tell me this though, Scotty. Like, what if, say, so to speak, you're getting up multiple times in the night to use the restroom? What do you could say about that? Maybe down for.
Yeah. So, one thing that you can definitely kind of do to help mitigate that is to decrease the amount of fluids that you take in before going to bed. And the other thing is what type of fluids are you taking in? Are you having a couple nightcaps before you go to bed? Are you having a couple beers, or adult beverages, or a cup of coffee before you go to bed, which I highly do not recommend, drinking caffeine
Yeah,
before
no
you go to
Red
bed.
Bulls, no coffees.
Yeah, but as we know, alcohol and caffeine, those are two diuretics, and so what that means is they flush our system and try and flush all the fluids out. And so if you're having a couple before bed, really limit that, or make sure that your last one is a couple hours before you go to bed.
Sure. Yeah. Good advice there, Scotty.
Yeah, thanks. And so, the last thing that I really want to kind of hit home on is creating good habits for physical activity. I've got a couple lines of research that I did, couple articles that I sent you, and you could definitely post in the show notes for our listeners to check out. But last year, Bloomberg came out and said that about a third of all New Year's resolutions are fitness based, either that includes being more physically active, or you want to lose weight, or you want you want to eat better, whatever. A third of those are fitness based. And what the studies show is like, yeah, everybody knows that they want to need to be more physically fit and take care of the bodies, but the habits aren't there to help reinforce what your goals are. And some of the numbers that I saw out there, this was from the New York Post, I think in like 2016, that CrossFit reported that 37% of the members that got their membership for Christmas or during the New Year's, 37% of those members dropped their membership by February.
Wow. Not even 2 months.
Yeah. Oh, a month, really.
A month,
Like
and that's
a
it.
month and some change.
That's not even a cup of coffee,
No. Yeah. And so, and then they also, Market Watch and the New York Post kind of had very similar data where for just general gym memberships, like at your 24-hour fitness or wherever, your big chain gyms, a third dropped off their membership within a month. And in June, less than 50% of those people that signed up in January are still going to the gym. And by October, only 22% of those people are still going to the gym. So, you look at the first month of gyms losing the 33% of membership. Now, a lot of people are still paying for that membership, but they're not taking advantage of that. And I think that really kind of coincides with creating a good habit or not creating a good habit within that first month, or even leading up to New Year's. Like, it's December 1st, and I know personally, like, I need to probably eat a little bit better, or I need to do some things better. And so that New Year's resolution actually can start right now.
Right. An early start would always be better than a late start. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there's an awesome book out there called The Power of Habit by, oh shoot, I wrote his name down, but I can't remember it. Power of Habit, awesome book. I apologize for not remembering the author's name. I never remember the author's name, so this is kind of par for the course for me. But
No worries.
There's something called a habit loop, where you create a cue, and what that cue could be is setting your alarm clock at an earlier time to wake up earlier to get
Charles Dunhing.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. There you go. Thank you.
Gotcha. Maybe pronounce his last name wrong, but hey,
yeah,
I didn't want to leave you hanging. I got your back, bro.
Thanks, man. Yeah. So creating a cue, setting your alarm clock, or laying out your gym clothes in front of your bedroom door to make where you have to put them on, and it can be like a super small cue, something like that, and then you can build upon that cue, and then the next part of that loop is a routine. And so, okay, if my cue is my cues are waking up to my alarm at 6 o'clock and putting on my gym clothes, then I go to the gym and I work out. What's my reward? And your reward can be really anything. That feel good feeling that you get after a good workout, or if you have a delicious breakfast, a good nutritious breakfast that you're really excited about, that can be your reward. And if you just go through that habit circle, you're going to create a good habit. And there's I think the old adage is 21 days to create a habit. And I think recent research has shown that it actually takes a little bit longer. It's more like 66 days. And so, and you can kind of see that in the numbers that were reported in MarketWatch and the New York Post and Bloomberg, where, these folks are, potentially creating these habits for a month, and they drop off in February. Well, maybe that's not enough time for them to really put that habit in concrete.
Gotcha. Yeah. Almost like that, it recycles obviously the next year around, but yeah, I get where you're going, It's like they're close and they're almost there to getting into that routine and that perfect cycle, and then they give up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm that type as well. I can't lie to you. I probably told you a few times I'm out of shape. I need to come see you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I just had a little bit of wrist work done, so it's going to be a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the same way. I'm a creature of habit where I have a lot of the same routines, but I'm honest with you, Scott, when it comes to continuing them every single day, day in, day out. There's days where I slip up, and then, I find myself having to restart over almost all the way again. And it's kind of, disheartening in a way, kind of beat you down. I think my listeners could probably vouch for me a little bit too. I'm sure people are in the same kind of boat, maybe not exact, but what's a good advice to kind of get, I'm looking for that goal. That's what I'm saying. What's my outcome? Even though I know there is a great routine, great system, there's eventually going to be a time where I'm just kind of bored with it, and I think what my listeners need to hear is what's the best way for us to start setting better goals, to help ourselves with not only just health, but, our life in general.
Yeah. And I think I think that that's a really good point, and I appreciate you kind of opening up on about that. And I know it's kind of disheartening for sure when you miss that date, but such is life. Like life's going to happen, and things are going to throw you off the tracks and stuff like that. And I think it really comes down to creating like short-term and long-term goals, and making sure that those goals are what they call SMART goals. And what SMART goals are there. The SMART goals is kind of a abbreviation for making sure that it's specific. So you want to, not just say, well, I want to lose weight. Well, how much weight do you want to lose? How much weight do you want is your end goal, your long-term goal? And then break that down to, okay, in 3 weeks, I want to lose 5 pounds. Okay, so that's specific. And then the other thing that we can do is have it measurable. And, that could be, out of 10 days, I want to make sure, or out of 7 days, I want to make sure that I exercise at least 4 days. And so you can go through your calendar and mark off the days that you went and worked out, or the days that you had physical activity, and then make that into a long-term goal over a month. How many days out of the month do I want to, do I need to go work out? And then, is this attainable? Is this something that is actually attainable for you in the short term and in the long term? Like for me, I know I'm never going to be, a high caliber athlete. Like those days are far behind me. And so you want to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure here in the short term and in the long term. And, is it relevant to you? Is this something that you actually aspire to do or really want to do? I would never, for me, I appreciate the mixed martial arts, and I appreciate what those men and women do to sacrifice and put their bodies on the line to compete, but that's just not for me. So I wouldn't really train as a mixed martial artist because it's not relevant to me. And then what the T stands for is time bound. How much time am I going to give myself to lose this amount of weight, or drop this amount of body fat percentage, or be able to run X amount of miles. So, and just kind of breaking those down into short-term and long-term goals is something that anybody can do.
Definitely. It's a great idea. I suggest it for everybody out there listening, especially if you're trying to lose those extra pounds or stay in shape, during these tough times when it's, like we said, so much great food at the table, so much great breakfast items, as we might add here on the E's and B's podcast. Well, that's good advice there, Scotty. As we're winding things down here on the meat segment, I only got a couple good questions for you, but I want to make sure that you got everything out of your bank that you need my listeners to know for all their great ideas going forward in this holiday season.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll I kind of want to touch on, obviously COVID-19 has been a
headache. It's been a headache. It's been a nightmare. It's been everything above.
Yeah. It's not been fun for anybody. Let's keep it at that. And before I kind of go into these considerations and recommendations, I want to just preface this that I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not an expert on COVID-19 in no way, shape, or form. So, this is something that I kind of pulled off, and there's an article from the HSS Journal, and it's considerations for return to exercise following mild to moderate COVID-19 and the recreational athlete. And again, I'm not a doctor, so please do not take my word as the gospel. But back in August, back in like May, June, July, personally, I couldn't think of anybody that had been infected by COVID-19, and it's like, where are all these numbers coming from? Like, I personally don't know anybody, and here we are in November, and I'll be the first one to tell you that unfortunately, myself and my family, like, we tested positive for COVID in late September, early October, and I've had family members, and I've had friends, and the spider web just kind of keeps branching out and out and out. So obviously people are getting affected by this, and a lot of people want to get back to exercise for for their personal satisfaction and for their physical goals. And there's just a couple considerations. And again, if you guys want to dive deeper into this article, I highly suggest you check it out. And it'll definitely be in the show notes. But they looked at the cardiac system, the pulmonary system, gastrointestinal, and kind of the blood system and musculoskeletal system. And there's just a few couple things that are recommended. And for the cardiac system, you want to take about a 2-week rest period after resolution of symptoms. But patients with like myocarditis, which is inflammation of the tissue around the heart associated with COVID, they recommend that you rest from exercise for 3 to 6 months. Obviously, you want to follow up with your physician or your cardiologist. Your pulmonary system, it's kind of up in the air right now. But again, it's a gradual return. If you have any underlying history of pulmonary disease, you need to seek guidance from this. And if you have any issues that it's hard for you to breathe, or you have pain while breathing, or you just can't seem to catch your breath, like you need to go seek physical help. And each like general pattern of symptomology is different for everyone for COVID-19.
Right.
So this is definitely not like a blanket statement again. And you should not resume exercise if you still have a fever or dyspnea, which means that your heart's kind of fluttering, or if you have a cough, chest pain, or palpitations. Anybody with underlying cardio or pulmonary conditions, again, consult your physician. And for the mild to moderate healthy patient with kind of self-limited course of COVID-19 who's been asymptomatic for 7 days may begin resuming physical activity about at 50%. So you want to be doing about 50% of what you're doing before you got sick.
Right. Like a light walk in kind of.
Yeah.
Not hopping all the way in. You just kind of ease yourself into it.
Yeah. And a lot of the data, obviously we're still learning about this bug as each day goes forward, but a lot of this was kind of pulled from what we saw in 2003 with SARS. It's all kind of, I guess these viruses.
Kind of weird how it is relevant. That's
for sure.
Strange.
Yeah. And then kind of the last thing that I'll talk about is, again, in the initial phases of return to exercise after recovery, it's recommended that a gradual guided activity modification, such as the 50-30-20-10 rule. So what that means is over the course of 4 weeks, the first week you want to do about 50% of kind of where you're at. And if you feel okay with 50%, then step that up to about 30%. If you feel okay with that and you're not having any other symptoms or any other issues, take that up to 20%. And then the following week, again, if you don't have any issues, take that up to 10%. But I highly, 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 highly recommend anybody that's interested in this for considerations to return to exercise to check this article out.
Definitely. And talking a little bit about that while we're on that subject.
Sure.
I mean, obviously we're here in Colorado, and the craziness that just happened last weekend with them and the football team,
Yeah.
it's mind-boggling to me that obviously we're learning more and more about it as it went forward. But it's mind-boggling that these guys aren't trying to take more precautions with themselves, knowing that this isn't a joke. They're more capable of maybe catching this than most because of the travel and everything else. But it boggles my mind on that situation. And what's your thoughts on what's really going on here? Not just maybe just the Broncos, but the NFL in general on how they're taking this.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I'm not super well versed on the exact like testing protocols and the repercussions if somebody tests positive, and if you have a couple of people test positive and stuff like that. Like, it seems kind of a little bit up in the air, and that's just me kind of being a fan and not
I
really
agree.
putting my athletic trainer hat on.
It's like that changes by the minute. Well, not to
Right.
step over you, but I mean, like every other day, it seems like the rules are different or the
Right. And, I
policies.
kind of, there might be like a preconceived notion where, obviously NFL players are the top 1% or less 1%, less than 1% of athletes in terms of physical condition, physical preparedness for high level athletic performance and stuff like that. And, kind of what we're seeing with COVID is, the better your immune system or the more physically active and capable that you are, COVID, the symptoms might not be as bad. And so, I don't think there's a lot of folks that take it too seriously, or maybe don't take it too seriously, just based off of like, well, so and so had it and they said that they had a cold, it felt like a bad cold. And obviously I want to be respectful for all the people that have unfortunately passed away due to COVID, or contracting COVID, or having a rough time and having to go on a ventilator and multiple days in the hospital. Like, I'm obviously want to be respectful of those individuals and those families, but it just kind of seems that a lot of folks aren't, if they're in better physical shape, they may or not be taking it too seriously because they're seeing.
Yeah, and it seems like the
around
turnaround is a little bit quicker, maybe.
The
The rules are the
turnaround.
rules. They should, they should definitely stick to that and make sure they keep them safe as far as everybody else that's going to be in contact with them. But
because you want to be respectful of the folks that work at the stadium. There might be an older gentleman or older lady working at the stadium that might be in close contact with these players and stuff like that. But it's just kind of unfortunate where it seems that every game and every day's in jeopardy for the major sports leagues, just based off of folks maybe not taking it too seriously and doing what is asked of them to make sure that they keep their job.
Definitely. And obviously, here on the E's and B's, we talk a lot of wrestling, and that's another one that kind of baffles me a little bit. When this all started, Roman Reigns, as we all know, used to have leukemia and all that bad stuff, and they made a big deal about him even being around, and this is definitely nothing for him to be taking a chance on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here we are, months down the road. I feel like we don't know very much more than we already knew back then, but he's returned to work, and he's put himself at risk around these people, but they're doing a very good job, I think, there, as well as keeping themselves quarantined when things happen, making sure they, are going through all the procedures and stuff. But it baffles me a little bit, knowing in the back of my mind, or if I was in his shoes, that there's still that slight chance that,
absolutely,
can't control it,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the thing is, I would suspect and assume that the WWE has taken has obviously learned about, what testing protocols are the best testing protocols.
Yeah.
And, to be honest, like when this whole thing hit, I was talking with one of the staff members with the Mammoth, and he happens to be close with collegiate athletics. And kind of the rumor around March was, well, the NCAA is going to still have March Madness, make their money, and then they're going to cancel spring sports. And then once March Madness was canceled, like everybody's like, holy cow, man, like this thing's for real.
Yeah.
And, I would be honest with you. Like I was scared to kind of be out in public because nobody knew how bad this was. And, I think obviously the WWE and Roman Reigns would have put themselves in great jeopardy if they didn't feel confident about the testing protocols and making sure that, everybody's staying safe and everybody's staying healthy.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the same goes for, I'm sure, all the other brands as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It just, like I said, it makes you wonder. You can only hope for the best for all them guys.
Yeah.
Hey, as we're keeping things rolling here, Scotty, I got a couple questions for you. I want to take it off the subject just for a minute out there for my listeners.
Absolutely.
I think this will be pretty interesting for them. We're going to dive into a little bit of your life, buddy.
All right.
No, just kidding. Here you go. I got a question for you. If there's a movie about your life, who's playing you and why?
Oh, man. That's a really good one. I think, I think Shia LaBeouf would be a pretty good one. 'Cause he's funny. Like he's obviously, like early in his career, he was pretty funny. And then like he could be serious at times. I think Shia LaBeouf would be a pretty good one. Sheesh. Maybe, yeah, I think Shia LaBeouf's like maybe the first one that comes to mind. Like, obviously I'm not going to say, like Chris Evans or Chris Helmsworth because I'm not.
This is your movie.
Yeah, I know. But I wanted to be
we're not picking the Hunchback of Notre Dame here. I mean, we're talking your movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Shia LaBeouf would do a pretty good job.
All right, I agree. I kind of see a little slight resemblance. I know my wife would love that. It's one of her favorite actors.
Yeah,
pretty good. Hey, bouncing a little bit around here. I know a little bit about it, but I want you to tell my fans and my listeners a little bit about it. You did a little trip just not too long ago, before it obviously got a little bit crazy. You made a trip out there to the Combine at OVW. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it was awesome. And Yade and I, we were fortunate enough to go out there. Al Snow and Chad Miller, who are kind of the two heads of OVW, invited us out to help evaluate the talent. And there was probably close to 30 participants. And the first part there in Louisville was at Norton Sport Performance, where Chad has a lot of ties and he's really involved with the Norton Medical Group, and they've got this huge, awesome facility where they did a lot of performance testing with squat, bench, pull-ups, body comp, some agility drills, some memory and agility drills, vert jump. And so I kind of helped out with that. And, I was kind of wearing two different hats. There was one participant that ended up sustaining a little bit of an injury. They were able to get back into it. So I was able to kind of help them out and help identify what's going on. And then obviously help, count reps and sets and stuff like that. And it was really cool. We had 8 folks from Rocky Mountain Pro come out and participate. Let me see. Lilith, Bruce, Atiba, Damon, Balaam, Chongo, Kelly Dowdy, who is one of our refs and commentators.
Yeah.
Like, huge shout out to Kelly. Like, obviously he's not going out there to earn a wrestling spot, but he did every test and physical
Nice.
test to the best of his ability. So shout out to him. Who else am I missing? Jumbo was out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
man, that's a good group, from Rocky Mountain, definitely.
I was
supporting the
really
strong.
Yeah, really proud of them and their abilities, and got really good feedback from Al and Chad. And then we went over to the Davis Arena where Sin Bodie and a couple of the other coaches put him through a in-ring kind of test or in-ring challenge. And it was a long challenge where they had to use a lot of different in-ring abilities and stuff. And based off of that, a couple of our guys were able to perform in that night's show. And Kelly even got a ref in the show.
Nice.
And then a couple of them stuck around for a little bit longer and performed in a taping later on that week. So
Awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And, I want to thank Al and Chad for having me out there to help out and do whatever I could to make this thing be successful.
That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I'm jealous. I hope maybe sometime in the future I'll be kind of like Kelly and get to tag along. And definitely not a wrestling talent, but I'd love to do all that stuff just to see where I stood up with the boys,
Yeah, it was
before I get too old. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I don't think they've announced. So this combine was for basically like a full ride scholarship.
Okay.
Over at OVW. So basically the way that they're set up is like a trade school, and they're able to give out like scholarships and help out with tuition and stuff. And if you get the call back, you have the opportunity to live there in Louisville. You get set up with like a part-time job. Your training's free, your strength and conditioning's free, and stuff like that. And so, it's almost like you get a full ride scholarship like a Division I athlete. So it's a
you
huge...
can't beat the experience and all the knowledge you're going to get from Al Snow and all them people over there either. There's no way. It's just the best thing about it. That's really cool, man. I hope one of our guys out here gets the chance to do that. That'd be really swell.
Absolutely.
If not, I'm sure in the future it'll happen.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of our guys that definitely pique some interest. I don't want to spoil it, but
absolutely not.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, Scotty, we're winding things down here. I've got one more question for you, buddy.
What do you got?
It's not really a hard one. It's a good one. Obviously, breakfast related here on the E's and B's podcast.
Ooh.
If there was a wrestler you could eat breakfast with, dead or alive, my man, who would it be?
You know what? I don't think it would be a wrestler right now. It'd be obviously someone in the wrestling industry, and that'd be good old JR, Jim Ross.
Man, you couldn't. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good selection.
Yeah. And I just got done listening to his newest book, Under the Black Hat, and just kind of talking, obviously about cool stories from his past and stuff like that, but how he's been able to stay in professional wrestling for 30 plus years and work with some of the biggest names, and then wearing different no pun intended, wearing
hats.
Different hats within the WWE and now AEW. Like I would love to have kind of a candid conversation with that guy and be able to sit down and pick his brain.
100% agree with you. I listen to him weekly. I love him to death. I hope I get his book for Christmas.
Yeah, it's good, man. You will not be disappointed.
I would definitely go for a breakfast with JR and Tony. I mean,
yeah,
it would turn into a dinner because I probably wouldn't want to leave. I would have to ask so much, and I enjoy it. So I agree. That's probably one of the better ones I've had.
Yeah, it'd be cool, man. And it's I follow him on social medias and listen to his podcast and stuff too. And seems like a genuine good guy.
Definitely. Yeah. One of my, like I said, the best out there, my favorite. I follow him on everything as well. Well, how about this? What are you guys having? How about that?
Oh, well, I think with him being a good old Oklahoma boy, we're probably going to have to go down like more of a country style breakfast with like maybe a chicken fried steak, probably some biscuits and gravy, probably some potatoes, and just keep the coffee coming.
Oh man, you're making my mouth water.
Yeah, I know.
Well, hopefully, maybe one day before it's too late, we can make that happen.
Absolutely.
Well, Scotty, before I get you out of here, is there anything else you want to tell my listeners about Fast Performance or anything you got going on from now or for maybe 2021?
Yeah, absolutely. If the listeners out there need some help or need some guidance, be it injury management, or strength and conditioning, performance type stuff, obviously, our door is open to everyone, across the population spectrum. Like, you don't have to be the top recruit coming out of high school. You don't have to be the Division I football player. We're more than willing and love to work with the general population. So if you're in the Denver area, or you can make it work, swing on by to Fast Performance. You can check us out more at fastcolorado.com. You can also see us on Instagram and Facebook at Fast Performance CO. You can also check me out and shoot me a DM on Instagram. I think that's the one that I'm probably more I check the most, is Scotty_sportsmed. Yeah, and I do like online sessions and stuff like that. So, we're flexible over here, and we want to help everybody out.
Man, that's awesome, Scotty. Once again, it's been awesome having you back. You've given us a plethora full of knowledge for this holiday season to make sure that we come out in 2021 looking a lot better, feeling a lot better, and obviously staying safe. Man, I can't wait to get to see you, dude.
I know. We got to make this happen.
Get over this hump.
Yeah,
we got to
make this happen. Yeah, for sure. Hopefully once some of these capacity restrictions kind of lessen up, we'd love to have you come hang out for like a taping or a show, or if you want to get a workout in, whatever, dude.
Definitely.
Just come on down.
We need to work something out going forward. Like I said, I got some humps I got to get through here.
Yep.
And then hopefully my new year will be just as good as everybody else's. But once again, Scotty, man, it's been an honor, a pleasure, and I can't wait to have you back again in the future. Well, next year, obviously.
Yeah.
But until then, buddy, stay safe, and don't forget to eat your breakfast, all right?
Thanks for having me on.
You bet, bud.